I want to show you real quick how to use Social Explorer. Here we are at the library main web page. If you go down to Quick Links, Database Title List, click on that, click on the S, and that'll take you to the S's, and we want to find Social Explorer. And if we want to use the maps, just click on Maps there, and we're going to be using US Demography. You can go ahead and start that. You can skip the tutorial, and if it's helpful, you can do 2 maps at once if you want to do 2 points in time. So you just click on this thing in the middle. I prefer swipe, but you can do whatever. On the left, you might want to do the earlier time periods. We're going to go to change data, and I'm just going to illustrate child poverty in this case. Sorry, we want to go to scroll over here to 2000, and then scroll down, and here we see poverty status for children under 18 living in poverty, and click on that. You can also zoom in on the Springs area. As we get closer, it's going to switch to tracks. That's good. So then on the right, we can also change that data. We want 2016. That's the most recent. Ignore the 17. That's incomplete. Poverty. Go down. Find the children living in poverty. Click that. And so if we slide this back and forth, you can see the 2 time periods are both set to tracks now. Now we can start to mess around with the color ramp. So if I always prefer to mess around with the right one because it allows us to impose any changes on both. I'm going to stick with this color scheme, but let's do different cut points. Usually 11 is a lot of cut points, so I'll put it down to 5 and think about different possible cut points. Equal interval is not something I use very often. Quintile maybe makes sense, so let's just go ahead and see if that works, and we can also apply to both maps if we use the same cut points, which is recommended. Go ahead and hit done. And so again, we can kind of slide back and forth and see how poverty is changing, and because we've used the same cut points, we know that any changes aren't due to changes in our color ramp. Okay. Again, we can kind of move this, center it. So once we get that just as we want, we can go ahead and export as image. Let's start with the left. We'll do the first time period first. You have to choose your aspect ratio if you want it to be sort of free floating, or if you want it to be a 4:3 portrait, landscape, and so on, and you can play around with that. I'll just stick with the free floating for now, but if you want to be kind of like a consistent, you might want to pick one of those. It really depends on the sort of shape of the area you're trying to capture. So one of the things we can do is do a wide shot here, which is going to capture the Springs, but the surrounding area. I always recommend the DPI be as high as possible. It'll make it a crisper picture. And we can just download the image, that's fine. If the alternative would be to download a zip archive where different ingredients are separated out. But we'll just do the image, and we can go ahead and export. It'll take just 1 second, and then it downloads. And then if I open that PNG file, you can see that that's what it looks like. And I might want to, save this and give it a better name, save it to a designated spot so I know where it's at. So then I can close that down, and go back to export as image, and now I can do the right, and again, set all the settings as I wanted to, and I would export it. One of the other things we can do is do zoom ins. So after you showcase the whole area, then maybe you want to zoom in and go ahead and export a zoom in of that. Gives a little more detail, and in particular high dense areas. Okay, so that's how you can use Social Explorer to do maps at 2 points in time and export those images.